Imagine rising from a little-known officer to become the most powerful man in Europe. Imagine defeating kingdom after kingdom, placing your family on foreign thrones, and ruling millions of people. Now imagine losing it all. This is the incredible story of Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who conquered Europe and then watched his empire collapse around him. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, shortly after it became part of France. As a young boy, he attended military school in France. He wasn't rich, and many of his classmates looked down on him because of his Corsican accent. But Napoleon was intelligent, ambitious, and obsessed with military history. He spent countless hours studying famous commanders and learning the art of war. Where the French Revolution erupted in 1789, it created opportunities for talented officers. Napoleon quickly rose through the ranks. In 1796, Napoleon was given command of the French army of Italy. Many expected him to fail. Instead, he shocked Europe by defeating larger and better equipped armies. His victories made him a national hero. A few years later, France was struggling with political chaos. In 1799, Napoleon seized power in a coup. By 1804, he crowned himself Emperor of France. Europe's kings and queens were alarmed. They feared Napoleon would spread revolutionary ideas across the continent. They declared war. Napoleon became famous for his military genius after winning major battles, especially the Battle of Austerlitz, where he defeated the combined armies of Austria and Russia. He continued winning wars and expanded French influence across much of Europe, even placing family members on foreign thrones. At the peak of his power, Napoleon seemed unstoppable. However, he could not defeat United Kingdom because the British Navy controlled the seas. To hurt Britain, he tried to block trade with it through the continental system, but the policy damaged European economies and weakened support for his empire. In 1812, Napoleon invaded Russia with over 600,000 soldiers, expecting a quick victory. Instead, the Russians retreated and destroyed supplies, leaving the French army without food or shelter. Napoleon reached Moscow, but the city was abandoned and burning. As winter arrived, he was forced to retreat. Cold, hunger, and attacks devastated his army, and only a small number of soldiers made it back. After the Russian campaign, European nations united against Napoleon. In 1814, Allied forces captured Paris. Napoleon was forced to abdicate and was exiled to the island of Elba. But the story wasn't over. Less than a year later, he escaped and returned to France. Thousands of soldiers joined him, and he briefly regained power during a period known as the 100 Days. Europe prepared for one final confrontation. In 1815, Napoleon faced Allied armies near the village of Waterloo in present-day Belgium. The battle was fierce. Despite his experience and leadership, Napoleon was defeated. The loss ended his dream of rebuilding his empire. This time, he was sent to the remote island of St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean, far from Europe. Calmer there, he spent his final years before dying in 1821. Napoleon rose from humble beginnings to become Emperor of France and master of much of Europe. His military genius changed history, but ambition and costly mistakes ultimately led to his downfall. More than 200 years later, Napoleon remains one of the most fascinating figures the world has ever seen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more amazing stories from history. This disastrous campaign marked the beginning of Napoleon's downfall.